from the interweb.
Please do. So we're all here to watch a director's cut. So I'm going to ask you the same question all 3 nights because I think it's really relevant, is in terms of what you wanted to accomplish with this versus what was released. Tell us a little bit about what you went for.
Yeah. They give me like, okay, do whatever you want. And then you do it and then they go, oh, that's cool, we're going to cut that out. And then they say, but you can put it on DVD. And we'll call it another thing. And then we can sell 2 DVDs instead of 1, which is cool for me because I think I'm getting 1 over on them and they get 1 over on me, so it works out.
I'm pretty sure nobody ever said do what you want.
No, that's true. No one ever said that. It was sort of implied in their eyes.
Maybe in my eyes.
I think, and they had to like rectify all the legal issues before the movie could come out. But
after we shot it.
After we shot it.
It almost just got shelved. We could have been showing you guys a movie that no one ever saw. That would have been cool.
But all
You know, and then people have like criticized me for a lot of different aspects of the way I've interpreted those characters. But if you've seen this film, if you know that I made that movie, right, it's very difficult to then say, you know, well, why would he do A or why would he do B? But if you've seen this movie, it's pretty obvious why. You know, like once you know that whole thing about like once you know the rules, you can break them? Right. This movie is like, yeah, that's the rules. Like, you can't go backwards. It's very difficult to go backwards from this movie and go back to, like, a point in time where, you know, like, this movie is the end of innocence for superheroes, right? You know, these superheroes are raping each other, for God's sake, right? They're fucking, like, murdering millions of people to create world peace. And someone says to me like, oh, like Batman killed a guy. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, wake the fuck up, bitch. I guess that's what I'm saying about, like, you know, once you've like lost your virginity to this fucking movie, and then you come and say to me something about like, oh, my superhero wouldn't do that. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I'm like down the fucking road. You know what I mean? So, and it's a cool point of, look, I'm 100% fine with it. It's a cool point of view to be like, my heroes are still innocent, you know? My heroes didn't fucking, you know, lie to America. My heroes didn't, you know, embezzle money from their my heroes didn't fucking commit any atrocities. I'm like, that's cool, but you're living a fucking dream world.
You probably have the most director's cuts out of most Hollywood directors, so congratulations on that, because that's...
I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
No, well, you definitely fight for your visions, and that's definitely inspiring to artists who want to get out there, definitely. So, you know, hopefully that tradition continues on in the future, you know what I mean. So,
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I guess.
Release the Snyder Cut!
The virgin. I mean, all I'll tell you is that, you know, it's truly done. It's done. I have fun. I like it. So, it's not like, that's not too bad.
So where do you want to start?
Have you seen what Clay Enos posted?
No, what did he post?
I'm going to send you it now.
Be prepared, though. Be prepared.
I have to zoom in. Maybe in connection with the Snyder Cut release. Winky face, praying hands, hashtag out of my hands.
Like, is he kind of giving us an answer and then kind of saving himself by saying out of my hands, or is he just, does he not mean anything by it and he's just hoping? Like, what is it? What is it?
I don't know. Let's start at the beginning, because this is our second take doing this, right? So the first time we were pissed out of our minds because of those questions at the Q&A, and we totally thought like it was done, like it was no more than Snyder Cut, right? And then literally the next day we get constant video clips from Zack Snyder giving answers to the questions we've been wanting to ask during that panel.
So he was going to answer them during the panel, but literally no one asked them.
No one asked them.
So he was ready to answer the questions.
He wasn't trying to avoid it. It's just the wrong people asked the questions.
Yep. And apparently, well, not apparently, this is fact, according to people who were there.
Yeah.
That the art students who went to that college were getting priority with the questions. So make of that what you will. Like
100%. That's
so to some extent, even the comic book movie marks agree that to some extent it was screened.
They didn't care about the fans that, bought tickets and traveled across the world to fucking go there.
But it was ran by them,
yeah,
hosted by them. They did everything. Zack was just there to meet his fans, so you can't blame Zack for something like that. But
that's so true.
But actually, the first time this podcast would have got us a lot of backlash.
Oh yeah.
We were very angry, but we're bound to be. Like, we're very passionate about Zack, and
yeah, everybody was. Like, we weren't alone.
But we've calmed down now, and I've just before this podcast actually been rewatching the live stream, and I kept rewatching the segment where he got asked about Justice League.
Yeah.
And if you watch it, every so often, if you rewatch it, Alex, after this, every so often the host, the guy with the mic who's do you want to ask another question now, or let's move on, or so on and so forth?
Yeah.
He keeps trying to move on. He keeps trying to push, like, quieten Snyder. I didn't realise when I was watching it live, but you can see he keeps going to bring the mic to his mouth to shut Snyder up.
Wow.
And then he keeps putting it down, letting Zack talk again. But Zack actually didn't even finish talking before he said, right, let's move on.
Wow.
Zack hadn't even finished.
I didn't even look at that guy during that live stream.
Honestly, rewatch it. I didn't notice it until I rewatched it.
So they were rushing him along because he had to leave after that panel, right? Or after the signing or whatever.
Yeah. They were trying to, because he was going scouting for Army of the Dead locations.
But the second they asked about Justice League, they rushed him.
That's it. Yeah, get out. But as well, he was looking around. You could see him like scanning. I don't know whether there was people in the back, like execs or Zack Snyder's agent, maybe he's like doing that fraught thing, saying shut up type thing, and Zack just didn't care. Whereas the host was like, oh crap, like we have to shut this down. Something went on. They were trying to shut Zack up.
And according to Chris Wan and other people that were there, Movie Marks, Deborah Snyder was like putting her hand in her face when Zack was answering with the dark side bit and whatever, and she was acting like, why is he talking about this? Like, why is he giving them this information? Because it's really unnecessary information. We don't need to know about a scene that wasn't filmed, right? Like, the dark side, it never got filmed.
What I don't get about that is, why would Debbie have a problem? And why would Warner Bros. Have a problem? Oh, evidently they don't, because nothing's happening. He's not being punished or anything for it. But why would they have a problem if he said that? The only other reason I could think is building people's hype.
Exactly.
To be angry at Warner Bros.
Yeah. And I mean, I guarantee people are retweeting and, adding Warner Brothers saying, like, how could you destroy Zack's original script and stuff, and, attacking them hard right now. But, a lot of stuff did get confirmed out of this whole event. And
Collider still posted an article saying the Snyder Cut doesn't exist.
All based off that goddamn question about Darkseid and how he said it was in the original script, it wasn't filmed. And then Collider does this whole article talking about, you know, how there's no Snyder cut. He didn't film his original script.
They're an absolute joke.
They're an absolute joke. They're fucking jackasses too. because
I seen the arc, I didn't even click on it. I wasn't willing to give them clicks.
they're purposely ignoring obvious like proof, like video evidence of Zack Snyder telling fans it's done and it's up to Warner Brothers to release it, and actual Zack Snyder circling numbers 214 to tell the comic movie marks what the runtime is. Like, Collider knows that, and they choose to ignore it to spread like this false narrative that the Snyder Cut never got filmed, or Zack Snyder never filmed his original movie. And it's like, it's clear that he fucking made a 3.5-hour movie and it got cut down by 2 hours. And what we've been fighting for is that initial cut that he made.
Yeah. You're fake news. You're fake news. You're fake news. Get out. You're fake news.
Turn those lights off. Turn those lights.
Turn those lights off. Turn those lights off.
Yeah, man. Collider's purposely trying to tank the Snyder Cut. And I had an argument with somebody on Twitter today about that. They're like, the Snyder Cut doesn't even exist. I'm like, no, it does. It does exist.
But it does prove the point. We say in a podcast, one of our first podcasts, that even if it got confirmed, people would still say it doesn't exist. Like,
exactly.
The man himself said it, and people are still saying it doesn't exist. Like, oh my god.
He literally says it's done. Like, you can't get more clear than that. Like, and I know, we had the comic movie marks ask a direct question to him, and he answered them. He told them the VFX aren't done. But of course, we don't know how much of it is done, Like, how much VFX got to get done or whatever. It could be like 99%. It could be 90%, We don't know how much of the visual effects are done. But there is a runtime of the movie. He has all the scenes he wants. It's just a matter of releasing it. Because, honestly, I'll watch an unfinished Justice League special effects, I don't really give a fuck. I just want to see the movie. I've seen director's cuts that have unfinished special effects. Watch Alien by Ridley Scott, his director's cut. Yeah, there's a couple scenes in there totally unfinished, and you can clearly tell they're not finished, but it doesn't, hurt the film at all.
Yeah. The comic book movie marks, I was quite devastated Zack never replied to that question, because that was the biggest question I wanted to know.
What question?
He asked if the Man of Steel was the definitive cut, or whether there is a director's cut out there, and apparently Zack was really a bit drunk and a bit that tired. He just kind of didn't know what he was saying, and he didn't say if he answered him or not. But I'd have absolutely loved to know. If that was his definitive cut, I'd be so happy. But if it isn't, then I'd be devastated. I'd want to see that cut.
I would like to think that it is, or at least it's close. Considering Zack didn't really bother to answer the question, I think maybe Zack thought it wasn't a very important question to answer. Or he just completely missed it because he was drunk out of his mind.
I can't believe no one asked him about whether we'd ever see a sucker punch director's cut.
Right, that would have been interesting because he actually said the extended cut is not the, his director's cut.
Like we said on the night it aired, we got, what's your favorite Spider-Man film?
Right. Oh god, dude! It's still frustrating to think about those questions.
I'm definitely still very angry about the people there.
Yeah, I can't believe it. But after definitely after knowing what we know now, I kind of don't care anymore. But yeah, the Spider-Man question was retarded. The Suicide Squad question was retarded. Honestly, it did get us the Darkseid thing, but they wasted that opportunity to actually ask a direct question about the director's cut of Justice League. Yeah, the Darkseid stuff is great and all, but I frankly don't give a fuck about something that wasn't filmed. It didn't happen. As far as I'm concerned, the whole Q&A part that was streamed was a total waste of time and a total farce, really.
The BVS one was. It was just incredibly pointless.
The Watchmen one was actually great because he did.
And Dawn of the Dead one was too, yeah.
Yeah, but I love when he's called everybody out for criticizing how Batman kills in BVS. That's like a highlight of the year so far. Like, people are still whining about that on Twitter. It is fantastic.
Yeah, my Twitter feed's flooded of people complaining about that.
Arguments all day about that shit. Like, it's all Zack Snyder. Like, just this guy speaking causes Twitter to go on fire, and everybody's at each other's throats just because Zack Snyder has an opinion. Like, it's insane.
That's what I mean. People seem to think anyone who's in a position of, I don't know what the word would be for it, but like in a high position, they seem to think they can't have an opinion unless it matches what the majority think, if that makes any sense. So it's because Zack said, like, obviously he said about, like, you need to grow up if you don't want to see your characters deconstruct and so on. A lot of people have been like, whoa, you can't say that, you can't say that. But why can't I say that? At the end of the day, he's a fan. He watches Marvel films, he watches DC films, he watches other people's films and loves them. He's a fan. He's a fan of film. It's not just a director.
100%. And I don't think people understand that opinion Zack Snyder has. That's a very common opinion amongst, fans and comic book fans, right? I mean, the only people that don't seem to understand what Zack Snyder's trying to say are the normies, like the mainstream people that go to every MCU movie, right? They don't understand what he's trying to say when he says they're living in a dream world. He's not telling people to grow up. He's telling people to stop thinking that superheroes are perfect and they can do nothing wrong. Because if you think superheroes are perfect, the characters can't go anywhere. They can't.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah.
And people they don't look in the future. They don't think ahead. And you can see in the comics right now, they reboot the comics every 5 years because they run out of stories. They run out of ideas, so they have to reboot and start from the beginning. Because that's the only interesting stories they can tell are the beginning chapters. We never get any farther because they can't break these arbitrary rules that the fans have set.
Because the fans won't let them. They'll want,
Yeah.
Marvel will want it. Marvel will want to change all their characters and do crazy stuff with the films, but the fans won't have it. If Marvel genuinely killed all those characters in the first Infinity War,
and they never
Marvel
came
fans would go crazy. But I was thinking earlier as well, right? The greatest characters in, well, not necessarily just comic books, but any
stories,
like, any story, yeah. The greatest stories are always when the character gets deconstructed or flipped. Like when it's a flip and it subverts your expectations. Like,
yep.
This is going to anger a lot of people, but by far, Spider-Man 3 is my favourite Spider-Man film. The Venom, I can't explain how much I love Black Suit Spider-Man. But no one moaned about Black Suit Spider-Man. He killed people. He tried to kill people.
Yeah, he tried to kill
comics,
Sandman.
He did a lot of dark stuff, yeah. And he thought he'd killed Sandman.
Yeah.
But it's about him overcoming that, like Batman was going to, but no one could see that eventually Batman was going to overcome it.
And I strongly believe if they didn't have that dance scene in Spider-Man 3, nobody would be bitching. Like, no, I think it would have been fine, honestly.
Yeah.
Because that's the only argument I hear when we talk about Spider-Man 3 or when anybody tries to, diss that movie. It always goes back to that fucking dancing scene. And
But Sam Raimi did that on purpose to make it so, like, the audience would go, oh, it's cringy to be evil.
And it's
like,
mirroring
you
the
just look like
movie.
a dick when you cringe. Yeah. But no one understood Sam Raimi's vision for that as well. It's just crazy.
And you didn't get Spider-Man 4, which Sam Raimi was going to direct.
Which would have had Venom and Carnage in. Well done, guys. Well done.
And the Lizard.
Yeah. And you've messed that up. And I'd easily say Batman's a darker character than Spider-Man. So why wouldn't Batman go into the dark side? And he doesn't even kill anyone. It's manslaughter at best.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily murder. It's not planned murder.
Everybody that he kills, with air quotes, are people that are already shooting at him and trying to kill him. It's self-defense, he would never really get convicted. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I think of all the fights, I can't think of any where he's purposefully known what he's doing and killed them. Even the scene where he drives his car into the truck. How did he know those stood at the end of the truck? They might have moved. He's not. How does he know when he's coming out the building that he knows he's going to hit the truck? All he wants to do is stop that truck. If he hits someone in the truck, that's unlucky. He hasn't purposefully killed him.
Exactly. And the only time he's purposely trying to kill somebody is Superman, and he can't go through with it.
And he can't go through with it, yeah?
He has Superman beat. Like, he's going to drive the spear through his head or something, And
even with the kidnapping scene, Martha, instead of shooting him directly in the head like in the comics, he shot the tube. So only if he shot that flamethrower, he would kill himself.
Yeah.
But if he didn't shoot the flamethrower, it wouldn't have blew up.
Exactly. If the KG Beast, if the torch wasn't on, the thing would have blown up. Like if you just shoot a gas tank, gas comes out.
Oh, it's crazy. Why are we the only people who can see this?
I know it's insane. People just don't. They don't. I believe they've only seen BVS once, and it was in theaters. Like all these people that complain are not the people that have seen the movie multiple times. They haven't seen the Ultimate Edition.
And sheep.
Yeah, they don't care. You know, they had their opinion from day one, and they're sticking to it.
I've spoke to a lot of people. I've got into arguments in pubs and stuff with a lot of people who have said BVS is one of the worst films ever, blah, blah, blah. And then after we spoke about it for 10 minutes, I've found out they haven't seen the film. They've heard from someone that it was bad.
Wow. And I bet that's like the same case with like at least 80% of the people on Twitter and stuff. I had someone today arguing with me about how Batman doesn't kill in Dark Knight Returns, the graphic novel.
He shoots someone in the head.
He literally shoots somebody in the head. And I showed him the panel, and he's like, "Where's the bullet hole?" And I'm like, "There's blood on the wall behind him. What are you talking about?" It's insane. And I also was like talking about that moment where like Batman's driving through the garbage area with all the mutants, and he's like shooting at them with rubber bullets, right? And like grenades are going off, and clearly mutants are dying. Like they're blowing themselves up, or like these giant rubber bullets Batman's hitting them with. Like some of them are dying. Like there's no way you can shoot somebody in the head with that kind of force and not kill them. It goes back to what Zack Snyder was talking about with the dream world. People think that everybody that Batman comes in contact with, they're just magically not gonna die. Like the laws of physics don't matter anymore. Like
I mean, you could punch someone in the head, they fall, they hit the head, they're dead. It happens all the time.
There's a certain percentage of people that they have brain aneurysms, and if you hit them in the head, they will die. The amount of times Batman punches people in the head, eventually somebody is going to die.
Criminals probably will do drugs in Gotham, and drugs will make their head, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's not even Batman's fault, if you think about it. If they weren't criminals, they wouldn't be in that position to begin with, right?
Yeah, what's he meant to do? Just walk around them and go, oh, watch out, ooh, you're under arrest.
Yeah, Batman's not a murderer. He's not trying to kill them, but if they happen to die, like that's on them, Of course Batman doesn't want to kill.
He was originally in a comic, Detective Comics. What does a detective do in real life if they get shot? They shoot back. You wouldn't be a detective if you're a pacifist.
Right? He'll die.
You'll die, yeah.
It's insane, man. People just think, Batman's a flawless, human being. And it's just so boring to think about superheroes like that. Like these characters can't do anything wrong. They everything they do is right. Every decision that they make is the right decision. Like, what's the point of reading them? What's the point of watching a movie about Batman if he's just gonna be right and he's gonna win in the end? Like, it's just so pointless.
Exactly. That's honestly, this conversation is why I originally did not like Superman. I thought how boring and bland of a character who is all powerful, can't be defeated, and that's what perception I had in him. And then what came along? Man of Steel, and now Superman is up there with Batman for me.
Yeah,
and I've realised he isn't all powerful god. He is vulnerable. He is a man.
He has to make actual real world decisions, sacrifice one life to save millions. Like you have to kill somebody to save millions.
Oh, it's just how can people?
I know people don't see this stuff.
One of my favourite gaming franchises, right? Batman Arkham. He kills an insane amount of people, whether direct, whether indirect. I'm sure, I can't remember from the top of my head. I think in Origins he kills Bane. No, I'm certain he does. He does kill people directly, but for the most part, like the Batmobile uses pellets. But like you said earlier, you used to tell me then pellets aren't going to pop someone in the head, and then Arkham Knight, because he's a seasoned Batman, he interrogates someone by putting their face against the Batmobile's tires, and no one batted an eyelid. No one was bothered. So why can the Arkham series get away with it? But people use the excuse, "Oh, it's an Elseworld story. It's a different story." But so is BVS.
Yeah.
BVS isn't canon to the very first Detective Comics,
I
even
mean,
in the very first Detective Comics, he killed people. So
yeah, every interpretation of Batman, you could probably find an instance where like he probably killed somebody, right? Either, being way too violent, or crippling them for life. That's probably just as worse than killing somebody. Paralyzing them from the neck down. That would probably be just as worse. And Batman does that shit all the time. In every medium, every form we've seen Batman in. So, I guess for these people, it's okay for Batman to paralyze somebody for the rest of their lives. But if he kills them, that's just way too far.
it's crazy, isn't it?
But we're getting off topic. Let's get back to the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Because we have confirmed facts about this Snyder Cut now. Stuff that we've been speculating about for a year and a half. Like, we've just been talking about this stuff without it being confirmed at all. But now we know that it is like 3.5 hours long. And that was like our initial guess from like, I don't know, what
was it 3 hours 34 minutes exactly?
Yeah, like
we
were all suspecting that because the movie took about 7-8 months to shoot, which is like twice the length of a normal movie. It's a long ass film. We always assumed that. We always knew it was real. Two things that the media has been denying forever, and of course the VFX aren't done. We kind of already knew that anyway. We all kind of assumed that.
Cinematic history, and instead we got 2 hours of a film that is worse than
2 hours. 1 hour of the Justice League that we got in theaters is Joss Whedon. Somebody broke it down a long time ago, and 1 hour is Zack footage, the other hour is Joss Whedon footage. So really, they cut out like over 2 hours, right? like almost 2.5 hours they cut out of Zack's film.
But bear in mind, Joss, even with Zack's footage, still made edits.
Oh yeah.
So, when the Flash meets Batman for the first time in the background, originally it was just some flashing stuff on the TVs, but Joss changed it so it was like anime or something.
Like those stupid edits like that.
Just something simple like that. He's just ridiculously changed, yeah.
And they made all those changes because of the critical reaction to BVS. I firmly believe if the critical score was just a 60%, none of this would have happened.
Why do they listen to critics? Critics aren't the one. Critics don't even pay for tickets, do they? Don't they get advanced screenings for free?
Yeah, they get everything for free.
So why are the people who are paying for the tickets getting punished?
I don't know. I know the initial audience score for BVS was like a 75% or something like that. So like the majority of people that saw the movie liked it when it came out. It's the minority, the vocal minority, or otherwise known as the critics, because the critics are only like 200 people, but they speak for millions, right? And it's so retarded because critics, I mean, they literally, when you read the reviews, they sound like trolls. If I went back and read some BVS reviews on that website, dude, they sound like trolls. They're not serious at all. They're just trying to hate.
How much are we betting Army of the Dead gets shit on as well?
Oh, I'm willing to bet money, like $200.
Free biddy. I bet free biddy. Free biddy right now.
I bet it's gonna get good audience scores, and the critics are gonna give it like a 55.
Yep. We've run off topic again.
What stuff you want to talk about?
This is going to be a lot of editing for you.
Yeah, I
know. And I don't want to give hope, but there was footage. I think you shared it on your channel. I think you did a video about it where the cyborg football scene had CGI fully finished.
Yeah.
So, what does that mean? Does that mean was that fine at the film? And if it was, does that mean all the first hour or 2 hours was finished? Did it still need polishing? Like, I wish someone asked Zack then what percentage of the FX.
That would have been nice to know. That would have been very nice to know. I would assume that like the majority of the film is done, right? and like maybe they just have transition shots they have to do, right? Or maybe a scene here and a scene there, like a handful of stuff, and it's like totally passable. It's like totally watchable. That's why Zack Snyder says it's done, right? Because he can watch it and be fine with it, with with the unfinished special effects and everything, and that that's fine with me. Of course, I would love to watch that. But yeah, like there's so many scenes, like the Flash scene where he's breaking through the glass to save Iris. It's finished in the trailer. Like we see the shot of him breaking through the glass, and it's finished in the trailer. But when you see the deleted leak scene of the same scene, it's not finished. The same shot. So like I'm thinking those leaked deleted scenes, that those were really early on, right? But like those weren't even like the most up to date versions of those scenes, the ones that got leaked, right? So if there is special effects to do, I'm thinking it's like less than 10% of the movie. That's what I'm thinking.
That's a very bold statement.
But like, that's just that's a very bold statement.
Surely 10 cuts could mean
Yes,
a
10
lot
different
of it's
edits,
done.
10 different run times.
How could there be 10 cuts like without some form of VFX being finished? Obviously, it doesn't necessarily mean the VFX is done. Like you could edit a film and then go, there you go. Right,
Yeah.
can we work on the VFX on this now? Do you know
Gets
what
the
I mean?
idea across, right? You don't need to be perfectly polished, just enough to show what's happening in the scene.
When Aquaman goes to Atlantis, the VFX were getting worked on. He posted on Vero. Larry Fong posted. No, Zack posted Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot in ADR. Yeah, ADR. Yeah, which was 2 hours 14 into the minutes. And surely you wouldn't do ADR. You'd do it whilst the VFX are being worked on.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that Wonder Woman when she's doing that audio recording. That was at the 2 hour and 14-minute mark, wasn't it? Like because the movie's 3.5 hours long, 3 hours and 50 minutes, whatever. Like, dude, like that was definitely
And that was
at
near
the
that was near the end in Joss cut.
So anything before that 2 hour mark, we can kind of assume is finished.
It's
special
probably
effects.
done. It's probably done. Yeah, or at least it just needs polishing.
Yeah, and we know for a fact that they started working on special effects in August because that's what Jay Oliva said. He said he saw a version of the film in August. Oh, he saw scenes that were done, special effects that were done, and that's during filming in August in 2016. So that was a long time ago. So any heavy special effects shots are probably done, or at least really close.
And Zack left in April 2017.
Yeah, so almost a full year of special effects on scenes, right?
Which is ludicrous. I mean, what film was it? There was a film that finished filming and it only had like 3 months till it got released. So are you telling me the VFX could it was done in 3 months for that film? So Justice League, surely, like 7-8 months, it was somewhat close.
Yeah, and we all saw the special effects for Joss Whedon's film and how bad the mustache on Superman looks. That's what special effects look like when you only have like 3 months to do them, right? And Zack Snyder, like they had like 11 months to like 10 months, so I gotta think a lot of it like is done. And the only reason it's not done is because the movie's so long that they just couldn't finish it in time before Joss Whedon took over, right?
It's probably one of the saddest stories in recent cinema history.
Yeah, I can't think of another situation like it, other than
Shane Black. Yeah, have you seen The Predator? Holy Jesus Christ!
Oh yeah, he was kicked off that movie, wasn't he?
No, he finished it, but the studio made him completely redo most of it and reshoot the ending and change it into a comedy. And the CGI was he only had like a month to do it, and the CGI in the end scene is just awful.
Wow. Well, there you go again. Like, if they could get shit done in like a month, come on. Like, I know the Snyder Cut is watchable. It has to be. If it's good enough for Zack Snyder to say it's done, then it's good enough for us to watch and for them to release. And if you look at other director's cuts in the past, Alien 3, have you ever seen that? There's a bunch of unfinished Alien scenes in that movie.
I haven't seen Alien 3 or 4 in many, many years.
The alien looks horrible. Like, it's definitely not done. And they added them back in, and they were unfinished special effects. They never went back to actually finish those scenes, but they added them back anyway for the director's cut. And, like, let's just do that for the Snyder Cut. WB just needs to release it. And since there's new CEOs at WB, it is definitely possible, right? I don't want to, get hopes up because it's probably going to take years. Like I'm thinking it could take like 5 years, like plus, like we could take that long. And I almost want to forget about it completely because then maybe it'll come by quicker, right? If we just forget about this movie, it's gonna be released one day. I'll be like, oh my god, it's released. But if we keep obsessing about it every day, I mean, it's just gonna be a longer wait. That's the shitty part about all this.
I don't know about you, but I think I've thought about it. So this isn't like a rushed decision thanks to the SnyderCon, but I think Comic-Con will be my last straw. That's it. That's it. If Warner Bros. After 2 years aren't willing to announce it, after like how ridiculously vocal we've been, then it's not coming anytime soon. So I'd rather just go quiet, forget about it for a bit, and then in 10 years, 5 years, we'll all come back and then be vocal again. And they might go, "Oh right, yeah, fair dudes, we'll bring it now."
Yeah, I mean, because we've literally done everything possible. There's literally nothing more we could do.
Apparently, Zack said Warner Bros. Were feeling the pressure.
Yeah,
it's been a year and a half. They feel the maximum pressure they're going to feel now. Like, how much further can we go?
Another letter writing campaign. The same people writing letters to send them in again. Another phone call campaign. We fly another plane. Maybe if we fly 2 planes at the same time. Maybe that'll what
That's
more
what I mean.
can we possibly do?
We've showed them. And a fair dudes, they haven't released a statement, which is probably a good sign, and they haven't outright said it's not coming. Don't even bother. Just leave it to them now. If they want to release it, they're going to release it. If they don't want to release it, they're not going to release it. If we go quiet now, they're not going to go, right, they're not bothered, we're not releasing it. They know we want it.
Yeah.
They know we want it, so...
Yeah, we're all buying it no matter what at this point. Like, they could release it any day, any year, and we'll all buy it. They know that. They know how many people want it. We were vocal. They've heard us. Zach's told us that they have. And I don't know if I just don't know what a hashtag is gonna do. Like how many times do we have to get a hashtag trending? That's
what it's every other day. It's like, oh yay, we got it trending, and the next day, oh, let's get it trending again. Like, well, it hasn't worked the first time. It's not going to work the 500th time.
Yeah, they know. Yeah, we've done our part. Now it's on Warner Brothers to actually deliver and give the hardcore fans what they want, because that's what a business does. They give the hardcore fans, their loyal fans, what they want and satisfy them so that they always come back and buy their products. I think DC is kind of like, I mean, not DC. I think Warner Brothers is relying on fans to go see like Aquaman, Shazam. They could boycott, until they get the Snyder cut.
That's what gets me, though. I think they're going to see Aquaman be popular, Shazam be popular, and go, right, we don't need Snyder. And then secondly, they'll go, people are still paying for our film. Why should we give the Snyder cut when we're still getting $1 billion a film? So why would we bother? So boycotting, to some extent, as pathetic as it is, to some extent as well.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. It really does make sense. Because then they'd be forced to listen. Then they'd be forced to make a statement.
Yeah. And they would do anything to make a little extra money, and that would include releasing the Snyder cut.
Yeah. I mean, Zack's helped us. You can tell he's helped us from the Vero posts. But when Army of the Dead was announced, my heart sank because I realised, right, he's moving on.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
But it's clear that he does think about it still. I mean, he put the runtime of the movie on the poster for that event.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's
insane. He still wants that to be released. He still wants to work on DC. You can tell. If you had that much passion for characters, you would want to work on said character films. Army of the Dead proves even to a very small extent, he has moved on, and he is moving on. And I think Debbie wants that too.
Yeah, I think Debbie wants that too, by her reactions during the Dark Side thing.
But I think that's because the producer in her was kind of like, shut up, Zack.
But Comic-Con would be an interesting time for Warner Brothers to say anything. I just don't really see it happening. I know we have those rumors about it being announced at Comic-Con, but that shit happened last year.
I don't trust rumors at all. The amount of ridiculous rumors we've had with the Snyder Cut is just getting beyond belief now.
Yeah.
What the hell was Eli Snyder's reply?
Good things
are coming. What the hell? You've absolutely.
You must have just been talking about this event.
Yeah. He literally. Yeah. How stupid of him. He started off like riots of people going, "Yeah, boy, it's coming."
And we did get information, but not what we wanted. you know,
Yeah, like,
not
he should have been more careful with that reply.
yeah. I mean, that's probably why he stopped replying to people after that, right? Because he knew he kind of like messed up a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Zack was a bit angry with that one.
But still, like Zack was so happy during those signings and stuff. You could tell on his face, like he's like really happy. He's definitely wants to share Justice League, right? Anybody that asked him about it, he answered them. And you saw when he met Chris Wan, right?
Yeah, I couldn't believe that.
Dude, he watches Chris Wan's videos. Chris Wan, did you watch Chris Wan's video? His like 40-minute video?
No.
All right, well, you watch after this because during that, Chris Wan says that Zack Snyder told him that he's dead on. You know what I'm saying? Like, Chris Wan is dead on about what he's saying when it comes to the Snyder Cut and stuff like that. So my mind was kind of blown by that because Zack Snyder's watching Chris Wan's videos, like these tinfoil hat stuff, and Zack Snyder's like, "Oh, you're dead on," like most of the time. Like, you're dead. Like, Chris Wan is more right about the Snyder Cut than Collider has been in the last like 3 years. You know what I'm saying?
It does make you think though, like, I wonder if you've ever popped up in Zack's recommendations and he's clicked on your channel.
Dude, I mean, I don't want to think about that because I kind of like it kind of like gets my mind and my heart exploding
it's
right
true
now.
though. I mean, Chris Pong doesn't. I mean, I'm certain to some extent you've had more views than Chris Pong on some videos. You 100% when I watch Chris Pong, you come up inside as a suggestion.
Yeah, because we talk about the same thing. We're in the same niche, you know.
Yep.
So
Zack Snyder has 100% seen your channel and probably seen one of the titles, and he's probably seen one of the funny ones.
yeah,
And thought,
yeah. I hope he saw the High Tops film one because that was pretty funny.
I just can't believe how down to earth he is. That's what shocked me the most about the event as well.
Yeah, dude. Like he was hanging out with people that we talk on Vero with and Twitter with. Like he was hanging out with them. It was like, having a lunch with them, drinking a beer with them. Like he's just a dude, It's pretty awesome.
An absolute dude.
Yeah. And people on Twitter fucking hate him. There are some people that fucking hate him for like why do you hate this guy? What offense has Zack Snyder done besides trying to make an awesome movie? Like, or what he thinks is an awesome movie. That's the only thing he's ever tried to do.
It's crazy. I mean, even 300 got hit.
Oh, yeah.
Watchmen
Especially
got
after.
hit.
Dude, Watchmen got so much hate when it first came out. People were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this isn't the Watchmen book." And it's literally shot for shot the book until the very end. Like, it's almost the same fucking thing.
And weirdly enough, people complained about the theatrical cut, but not much so the director's cut.
Like, almost nobody complains about the director's cut.
Yet
Just
Warner
like
Bros.
BVS.
Didn't learn the lesson then.
They never learn their lesson.
I'm going to go and watch Shazam, and I'm going to have this like feeling of I really shouldn't be watching this. Like, I really shouldn't be giving them a ticket because they just don't deserve it. And I'm just going to be sat hating it, even though like a full team's put their hardest work into Shazam.
Yeah. Like
Davis
Sandberg
put the
probably did a
hardest
great
work,
job.
Yeah. Levi looked so fun. Like, it looked like he had such a good time doing it. And it breaks my heart that I have to watch that film with regret because of Warner Brothers.
Yeah, and it's going to be like that until we get a release of the Snyder Cut. Until we actually
That's all they
see
need to do. That's all they need to do. And I'd forever support them. And
Yeah.
I'd be like, right, Snyder's gone, fair dudes. They went in a different direction, but that's fine. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah. They can do whatever the fuck they want. You know what I'm saying? And I would totally support it.
But the Snyder Cut is one of the biggest betrayals of fans in very recent memory. I can't think of a game company, film company, artists, or anything where someone has betrayed the fans as much as this.
Yeah,
I genuinely can't.
I think the only thing we can really compare it to is something like, like Solo, where the directors got kicked off the movie and the studio changed the movie, did overhauls entirely. But even at that rate, like Zack Snyder, he had his whole film done, Like, he didn't get kicked off halfway through. Like, he had the whole film shot in a timeline. They were working on special effects. They were almost done with it. And then he leaves. And then the movie gets changed. After it, they've already spent $250 million on it. then they decide to change it.
But I honestly can't think of any even close to Justice League, like where we've had such really bad studio interaction. Wonder Woman was heavily attacked by the studio. She did give in to a lot of stuff. I think No Man's Land was only put in, was it because everyone was on her side against the studio?
Yeah.
Didn't she say something about that? Yeah, like all the producers and stuff were on her side.
Yeah. And that's the thing about the Snyder Cut too, is that the Snyder Cut that we're going to get is the compromised version. It is the version that Zack Snyder compromised with the studio, and they still didn't like give him that. They still didn't even put that out, even though he probably compromised and gave in to what they wanted anyway, and still it wasn't enough for them.
Which is just heartbreaking, because he said himself personally he was insecure, him and Chris Terrio, after BVS, which is crazy because that means even the critics got to the boss man himself.
Yeah.
Which is unbelievably upsetting that they've made him feel in such a crappy way. And at the end, and Warner Brothers couldn't even let him finish. He got that sick. I mean, obviously, his daughter killing herself was unbelievably tragic, but I bet any money, the reason he left wasn't that. It was purely because he was sick of them, and he definitely didn't need that stress whilst grieving.
It's so fucked up.
It's honestly crazy. You not if you told anyone who's not that much into films, they wouldn't believe you. It's that crazy. They'd say, no way would a studio do that. No way would that happen in real life.
And it totally did. Like, everything we've been speculating about the Snyder Cut, like, everything that, we think happened did happen, and everything we know about the movie is true, for the most part, Like, we know more about what happened with the Snyder Cut and, like, how far along it is and what scenes are there than any news outlet, right? Any, Collider hit piece. Those people don't spend more than an hour looking into this shit. We've been on this shit for like a year and a half. Like we know everything there is to know about the Snyder Cut. And, now we know for a fact that it is, over 3.5 hours. We know for a fact that it was compromised because of the reaction to BVS. Like, we know for a fact Cyborg was going to be fucking killed in a car accident. Flash was going to be saving Iris West. Bruce was going to be suicidal. Darkseid was going to be in the movie. Like, all this shit, it just all adds up.
It does make you question, though. Can you remember when Justice League, maybe a bit before it came out, like all this info came out? What we know now came out as a leak. That Zack had been... that apparently him and the studio was arguing back and forth, and that Zack had to keep changing stuff, and Zack was it was forced to be lighthearted. Can you remember all that news? And I remember up until Justice League's release, I was going, no way, leave him alone, no way has he changed anything, no way is the compromise, no way is Joss Whedon going to change anything. And then I went into that theatre and I came out a changed person.
Yeah. And we know for a fact there is 10 different versions. Zack Snyder made several different versions for WB. And the one he settled on is 214 minutes long, which is incredible.
Very, very incredible.
And we knew that from the second month? Over a year. And we've been called crazy for even thinking the Snyder Cut exists. People think that we're insane for even thinking this movie exists, that there's a over 3.5 hour version of it. But it still doesn't matter because those people, they still won't believe us. Even with footage evidence, video evidence, there's still people that say it doesn't exist because it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
It really doesn't. It doesn't add up. Like, what were Warner Brothers thinking when they've seen that finished cut of Justice League and thought, oh, hell yeah, people are going to love this and this is going to make $1 billion. This is so much better than BVS and any Zack Snyder film. And decided to release it instead of going, hang on, Joss, piss off, that is awful. We're going with Zack's vision instead.
We're going to finish his scenes and just release that instead.
And just release that, because then at least you have the cult following who's going to buy the Blu-ray over and over again, even if it does poo in cinema. So, in your deadly, deadly honest opinion, if you believe still, when do you think the Snyder Cut's going to be rather announced or released, or both?
Yeah, I really believe that we're not getting an announcement at Comic-Con. We're not going to get anything for maybe a whole like year or two. We're not even gonna get like any kind of announcement on it, and it might even be like 5 years plus before we ever see it, right?
So have you changed to a Donner cut? That's what you're thinking. It's going to be a Donner cut situation.
Yeah, because even the Donner cut had unfinished special effects, you know, like, and they had like what 30 years to work on that movie. They never went back and did special effects, so
And they only had a couple of letters. It wasn't that much of a fan base that was demanding it.
yeah. But you know, I would hope Warner Brothers just releases what they have after a Joker movie or something. Like, just get it out there, because it seems like they're rebooting the universe anyway. So it really doesn't matter what Justice League was. You know, it doesn't really matter what the film was. They're not making a sequel to it anytime soon. But judging by the way they fucking go about their business, it seems like they value self-image more than, releasing a cut for fans.
Which doesn't make sense, because
Yeah.
them not releasing it, sorry, ruins their image, for us at least, massively.
Yeah.
And all we're going to do is spread word of how bad of a company Warner Bros. Is.
And and people are going to catch on eventually, because I know there's going to be plenty of people that aren't going to give up on the Snyder Cut. They'll be talking about this shit forever until it comes out. And I will too, for the most part. I mean, if we get some big news about it, like, the movie's 214 minutes long, yeah, I'm going to cover that. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. But, I'm not going to talk about rumors every day about this stuff, because all we can do is wait. It's just a waiting game now. It's just, It's always been a waiting game.
Couldn't agree more. That is what it's turned into. After Zack said that, now it is literally nothing but a waiting game. If they feel the pressure, there's nothing else we can do. That's it. So it is just a waiting game. That's it. I mean, he posted a video at Warner Brothers lot whilst he knew it was going on. So he spoke to him about it.
Yeah, of course he has. Like, of course they had that meeting where Zack Snyder's like, why don't we just release this thing? And they probably gave him some bullshit excuse.
I truly believe this year is the year that they only have chance to do it. Because I haven't watched, no spoilers obviously, but Shazam is meant to have a lot of references to BVS and Man of Steel in the film.
Yeah.
So it is part of the DCU.
Yeah.
And it looks like Warner Bros. Are continuing, which is weird, because they're definitely doing a soft reboot at least, because Batman's gone. Completely rebooted Suicide Squad, so what the hell's going on there?
Yeah.
Will Smith's gone, so that's going to be weird. Henry Cavill looks like he's 100% not coming back anymore, to be fair, which is a very big shame, but yeah. Ray Fisher, apparently it looks like he's not coming back. Ezra Miller said, didn't he say if they're not using his script or something, that he won't be coming back?
Yeah. And if they don't get that Flash movie off the ground, that's not going to happen anytime soon, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd like to think, I would like to think that the fact that Jason Momoa's staying on is kind of a bit of betrayal. It's kind of like, right, all your friends have gone. A director you meant to have like much appreciation for has gone, and you're still supporting Warner Bros. Just because you're getting a big chunky paycheck.
I mean, yeah, a few $100 million will change person. But I would hope that Jason Momoa, people like that would give Warner Brothers more of an incentive to release the Snyder Cut, because maybe he would be telling them to do that, Like, every time he goes into a meeting with Warner Bros. Executives, maybe Jason Momoa goes, release the Snyder Cut, maybe? At some point during a meeting, some point during a phone call, he's like, what's going on with that Snyder Cut? Like, I would hope Jason Momoa would do something like that.
Then the question is, though, why is he being so quiet over this weekend? Surely he'd make an Instagram post of...
Yeah.
He hasn't even made one supporting the SnyderCon, saying, oh, guys, I hope you have a good time and stuff.
But seriously, if it's not announced at Comic-Con, that's really it for you, huh?
Not to the extent of, I don't want to hear it type thing. It'll be the extent of, it won't be all I think about every day. It won't be every little thing I'll be getting hyped for, like, ooh, I wonder if they could announce the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, and I think
it'll just be like what you said, where if something big comes out, then hell yeah, I'm going to want to do a podcast with you and I'm going to get excited. But except for that, no, I'm not interested, because it's a matter of waiting. We know as much as we're going to know now. I mean, he's told us the practical, like, we practically know the full story of Justice League.
Yeah,
and we know it's done. We know it's up to Warner Bros. So what other leaks could come out now?
Everything short of actually seeing the fucking movie. We know.
Which is the only thing we want.
Yeah. So they might as well release it. They might as well release it.
Exactly. But for now, I am a sucker for DC, so I'm still going to go and see Shazam.
Yeah.
And I'm still going to go and see Joker because that looks phenomenal. Yeah, what else can we do? What else can we do? That's all. That's if Zack Snyder said you've got to keep on fighting and it will come. Yeah, but all he said was to feel the pressure. So what else can we do?
Yeah.
He didn't tell us to keep fighting. He just told us that Warner Brothers knows and that they're feeling the pressure. So there you go. We've won, kind of.
That is a big win.
It's a win, yeah. The man himself, who's probably met with top execs at Warner Brothers countless times, knows that they're feeling the pressure. And I mean, he's fully bailed and went to Netflix, so win. Both win. They've lost like one of the best directors. Well, they haven't because he's still working on The Fountainhead, but you get my point. But yeah, Comic-Con's my last straw. Because I think releasing that in December this year would be unbelievably perfect. Just after Joker, just before Wonder Woman 84. Yeah, absolutely perfect. And I think they'll make a massive mistake. And even if they advertised it as a new Justice League, just so they could get audiences back into the cinemas, like they could even be sly about it and do it like that.
That'd be insane.
I don't think they will. I think it will be a home entertainment release if they do.
Yeah. I think if anything, that's probably what's going to be.
But I am dying for it still. Don't think I'm not interested in it still. I am. I absolutely would go out and buy every Blu-ray possible about it.
Yeah, I'm still dying for it too. But I just know, thinking about it every day, like obsessing about it, it's not good. It's just not good.
It was good when you genuinely believed it could be announced that month or it could be announced that day. Do you think he could have knocked us off guard and it could be getting announced any day now? Or do you think he'd be honest and say, yeah, it's coming, don't worry about it?
Judging by his demeanor, like you saw the video where he said it's done and it's just up to them.
Yeah, it was kind of very, very like informal, like casual, like it didn't seem secretive, it didn't seem like he was trying to schnivel, it just seemed like he was being honest.
Yeah. It's like it's completely out of his hands. And it's out of our hands. It's like there's nothing more we could do. There's nothing more he can do. It's only up to WB.
So does that mean we've been wrong and actually even Zack Snyder wouldn't know that he's going to be released?
He'd probably be the last person to know, right?
Yeah. So is that if they announce it's coming, is he going to be with us in going, holy shit, it's coming?
He's going to have a reaction video just like us.
Yeah. I don't know whether that's a bonus or negative because when he posts Justice League pictures, it kept getting me hyped and thinking, oh, it's definitely something's rumbling. He knows something. But now, if he's going to post, I'm going to go, he doesn't know anything. Yeah. But at the same time, if he's got that Blu-ray, is he watching the Blu-ray, pausing it, taking pictures and putting it on Vero?
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm surprised no one went, yo, Zack, if you've got 10 copies at home, can I have one of them?
Yeah. I think what will be more likely is that Zack Snyder actually screens it in his own theater, like for fans. And like you can like buy a ticket for it. It'll be like $1,000 a ticket.
God, I imagine how much Warner Brothers would sue him.
Right. Or maybe he does it for free. I don't know. If he does it for free, he doesn't make any money off of it.
It'd still sue him because of
cinema.
But do NDAs run out? So in so many years, could he go, ha 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 ha? There you go. There's Justice League.
Well, but then clearly he doesn't have an NDA about it. He's talking about it.
Yeah, but
because he talked about the dark side thing. Wouldn't that be an NDA thing?
So why couldn't he just release it? Is it because their characters are owned by Warner Brothers, so he couldn't send it out because then he'd be done for it?
I don't know. It's all very confusing.
Yeah, it's a very, very misty, muddly area.
But yeah, it's completely out of our hands.
You're gonna get people. You know for a fact you're gonna get people in the comments saying, "Don't give up, keep fighting." But
yeah, but it's like, what the fuck do you mean by fighting? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like there's nothing else we can do. I mean, I live nowhere near a Warner Brothers studio. I can't go to them, and I don't have the time to go to them and go, release the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, like what do you want me to do? That's like literally the only thing we could do is like march into Warner Brothers and hold a gun to their heads. That's the only thing we could fucking do right now.
I mean, people posted it in, was it just after SnyderCon, they went to Warner Brothers lot and they posted a picture of released the Snyder Cut like banner or something. There was like 8 of them.
Yeah.
What's that gonna do?
Yeah. Just like the last time they did that, and there was only like 8 of them.
Warner Brothers are just gonna look out the window and go, "Oh, what a bunch of dweebs!" Like,
Kinda, yeah.
they're not gonna take you seriously unless there's about
Millions. We need millions of people. And
not, yeah, but I mean, people who are actually there. I'd say about 50 people would probably be enough for them to go, "Oh,
Dude,
like, wait a second, what the hell? How
I
many
would
people
say
came
like
out for this?"
200 might be enough.
Would you? Yeah.
I would say like 200 would be like, they'd see like a big crowd, 200 people, they'd be like, what the fuck is this for? And then they're all wearing Zack Snyder shirts and holding up banners. And
It's
they'd be
just a
like,
shame
"What
that
the
like
fuck?"
everyone in America, like all the YouTube channels, should plan a meetup in LA and go and do it. So there's
Yeah.
actual people there
Oh yeah.
instead of 6 random people.
That might be the only thing we could do that we haven't done already, is actually really organize a big actual protest outside Warner Brothers, not something that's just amongst like a few people, but something that's organized with like all our subscribers of every channel combined, and we get as many people that can do it, and that's like the only thing we could do.
But then at the same time, whenever you've ever seen protests work, people protest outside of the House of Parliament in the UK and doesn't achieve anything. They just ignore it.
Well, they don't go viral, do they?
True.
But I think if we had a big 200-person protest, and we can make it look like it's thousands of people, with camera angles and stuff.
Or just get everyone to book the Warner Brothers lot tour, and then when we get in there, charge the office.
Yeah, and we could do it every year on the Justice League release date anniversary. Every year, and we grow people more and more. That would be the only thing. But other than that, we've wrote the letters, we've called into them, we've signed a petition. 150,000 signatures, a plane flying over the building, countless YouTube videos from several different channels. I don't know if you know this, but my channel has almost 500,000 views in total. And I'm sure Chris Vaughn has more. I'm sure Film Junkie has a hell of a lot more. I'm sure Film Gob has a lot more. I'm sure the Comic Movie Marks have about the same or more. We have a big reach. We might be able to make something happen like that. A big protest, actually. But still, if all that's not enough, what more can we possibly do?
That's what I'm in that position right now. I think we've done enough. The petition was probably enough. The signatures was enough for it to actually be sent to Warner Brothers, wasn't it? Isn't that what it actually? What if they had 100,000 Warner Brothers? It actually, what was it? Something like that. It'd actually be sent to them or something.
Yeah.
Or they'd actually have to consider it or something like that. So they've definitely seen it.
Yeah. Usually with petitions, if they ever get over 100,000, that's a big deal. People take notice of that. With anything else, right? But with the Snyder Cut, just it doesn't really matter if over 100,000 people sign something for it. But still, if that petition was going, it would be over 200,000 by now.
Definitely.
Probably be getting close to 300,000 by now over the year and a half.
It's crazy. They know. So
if those people want to come at us and say, we need to fight more, they need to look themselves in the mirror and really see how hard they're fighting. What have they done?
The only ones who could possibly give us it know how much we want it. So what else? What's the point?
Yeah.
If we stop tweeting and release the Snyder Cut, they're not going to go right. Yep, no one wants it anymore. They know we want it. They'll forever know we want it now. The fact that they didn't come straight out and say it's not coming, shut up. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
So they're talking about it. There's meetings. There's 100% meetings about the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, they've had to at some point.
I'd probably bet every other day that gets mentioned in Warner Brothers studio. So just wait, just be patient. Just honestly, as painful as it is to say, just support Shazam, support Joker, because Joker looks like it's one of them risky ones where the studio kind of probably didn't want to do it, and they might have managed to persuade them to do it.
Yeah.
So go and support that. Just go and support any film you can, and go and see any film you want to go and see. I wouldn't let the Snyder Cut ruin your vision on DC. If you've loved DC all your life, like at the end of the day, this isn't DC. This is Warner Brothers. I mean, Titans was phenomenal. I don't know whether you've seen Titans, and Jeff Johns worked on it, which makes me a bit upset, but it was phenomenal. I can't deny how good it was.
Yeah, I saw the first season. It was great.
So,
And Doom Patrol's really good too so far.
and that's only Warner Brothers. I mean, oh no, yeah, Warner Brothers TV. They
Yeah.
do have like a TV section, yeah, but at the end of the day, it wasn't DC that have went to Warner Brothers and said, right, get rid of Zack Snyder. He's awful. It just wasn't them.
Yeah.
It was Warner Brothers.
Yeah, it's Warner Brothers reacting to critics.
Yeah. At the end of the day, Warner Brothers owns DC's films, so Justice League can't be released by DC. It's only by Warner Brothers. And if you don't go and see Shazam, you're not supporting DC, and you're not supporting comic books. So
Yeah.
What'll annoy me is if Army of the Dead comes out and he still gets absolutely hounded and no one gives a crap about it and still says, "Oh no, we don't want Army of the Dead, we want the Snyder." It's like, well, no, you're not. The
That's
point
gonna
of the
annoy
Snyder
fuck out
Cut
of me.
is
Yeah.
to prove, is to support Snyder and to support like directors' visions. So what you want to be doing is instead of going to see a Warner Brothers film that weekend, go and see Army of the. Oh no, well it's on Netflix, so never mind. So go and watch it on Netflix instead. Even just watch it over and over again on Netflix, so the streams go up for it on Netflix and support the boss. Don't punish DC for Warner Brothers mistakes.
But yeah, definitely, I think it's better to just support DC films. And
Definitely don't boycott. I would
Definitely don't
definitely not say
boycott.
boycott. Just
And
it doesn't achieve anything.
Yeah, and there's no need to think about the Snyder Cut every day. They know we've made it abundantly clear for a long time, and it's all up to them. It's out of our hands.
100%.
Yeah, let's wrap this up. Any final words?
Go and see Shazam.
Support the Snyder Cut if you want.
I'd still say support it. I just wouldn't say go as crazy as we have for the last year and a half. Like what?
Yeah. Don't get crazy hyped every time an event comes around, thinking it's going to be the big announcement that we're all waiting for, and build it up to be this huge thing, only to have utter disappointment for everybody. Like, that's what we've been doing for every goddamn event that's been happening.
Like surely, if it was coming, it'd have been announced this weekend, or Comic-Con.
Last year it was Comic-Con, and then it was just like the Justice League year anniversary. Oh, this is going to be the day. And then it's like, oh, no, that's not the day. Well, probably after Aquaman. That's going to be when it's announced. So, oh, no, it came and went. The Snyder Cut event. No, that's not. No, that didn't happen either. And now we're looking forward to another Comic-Con. Going to get our hopes up again. I just want people to stop worrying about it so much. It's when it happens,
Yeah, I really enjoyed your Aquaman coverage. I just, as much as I love the Snyder Cut stuff as well, I really do hope that we can move into a DC, all things DC, and not lose an audience where they were just there for the Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
Because fair dues if you're a fan of Zack Snyder's films, but at the end of the day, what it comes down to is
getting
DC
a Green Lantern
fans.
film. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
That's what we're all here for.
For your channel, yeah.
That's why we're here. We gotta get a Green Lantern core film. That doesn't happen unless DC films become huge successes here.
Yeah, there's no way they're risking Green Lantern again unless they're banking money.
Yeah, that's all I really gotta say about that for now.
Yeah, definitely. Go and see Shazam.
Support artists.
Support directors' visions.
Because that's what the Snyder Cut whole movement is about.
Yep. We're not demanding the cut just because we're cultists. Yeah, about wraps it up, doesn't it? Go and watch BVS again. Go and buy it on Steelbook, Blu-ray, Man of Steel, watch them again. If you haven't, go and watch Dawn of the Dead in preparation for Army of the Dead, because Dawn of the Dead is, in my opinion, the best zombie film ever made.
And buy Army of the Dead on Blu-ray if they ever fucking put that on Blu-ray. Because do they put Netflix movies on home video box sets and shit like that? I don't even think they do that.
That's an insanely good question.
I'm thinking about it.
I don't think they do. What films have Netflix made?
They make a lot of films. Bird Box, that never got an actual release.
Jesus, yeah. So the only way to watch a Zack Snyder film is going to be on streaming. Ugh.
There's got to be a way to buy it, physical copy. I got to. I cannot not have a Zack Snyder film. I have all of his films.
Oh, you don't have Snow Steam Iron. You don't have Justice League.
Oh, that's right. Well, Stone Steve, that's a short film. That doesn't count. And
Well, but you
Justice
don't
League's
have
not
Justice
released yet. So I can't get Justice League yet.
Did you hear at the event as well? Just a quick off-topic funny thing. Apparently, Zack Snyder was refusing to sign anything Justice League oriented.
Really? That's
Yeah. Someone put in the Facebook group chat, one of the groups on Facebook, that he got BVS signed, the top signed, and Man of Steel signed, and Zack Snyder refused to sign the Justice League Steelbook.
That is amazing.
What an
He's a
absolute!
legend.
He is. He's just a friend. That's what he is. He's a friend.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks everybody for listening. Well, we'll always be back for when big Snyder news breaks.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know in the comments as well. If you think we're wrong, if you think we should keep on supporting it, like our minds are open, unlike Collider's, so we will acknowledge if we should probably keep on fighting to get any chance at all. But yeah, just let us know in the
If
comments.
anybody has any ideas on what else to do that hasn't been done yet,
That'd be
comment
awesome.
below.
Yeah. Definitely, that is pretty awesome. And tell us what you thought of the Snyder Weekend. I mean, what questions would you have asked, honestly? Because a lot of people asked stupid questions, and I wonder if your audience agrees with that.
Oh yeah, during the Q&A, yeah, everybody's in agreement that those were like the most retarded questions on earth.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what you would have asked, because honestly, I think me and Lanton are in the same boat. We had a lot of questions we would have. Obviously, the main one's the Snyder Cut, but we had a lot of other questions we would have wanted to ask.
Yeah.
So yeah, just let us know in the comments, and me and Lanton will have a chat with you.
Thanks for joining me, Proctor. Until next time.
Until next time. Right. Bye. Bye.
Well, friends, now we know. When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
this land of tragedy, I try to find my way. And in this town of misery, I search for you. Now we walk away to the last of the day. see the truth? Will we just lose everything now? It fades away to the end of the day.
Never compromise. Not even in the face of Armageddon. That's always been the difference between us, Daniel.